Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new re-release of The Artist's Guide to Sketching. This is a book by James Gurney and Thomas Kinkade. Thomas Kinkade passed away in 2012, but this was reproduced with the permission of his estate, and James Gurney kind of obviously taking the lead on this. And it was James that reached out to me and asked me if I would like to have a copy of it and do a little review. So I am very excited to share this with you. James Gurney is probably my favorite contemporary artist, and I just love plein air painting, and a book that's all about sketching in the wild is right up my alley. So I'm going to show you some of the promotional things that came along with this. If you order this from James Gurney directly from his website, you get it signed and you can have it personalized. If you order it from Amazon, I don't think it will be signed. So just to kind of give you the heads up, and the release date of this book is February 25th. 2025. So yeah, I'll give you a little time to think about it. You can pre-order it, or you can wait till it comes out if you want to. So this he personalized this little postcard here to Lindsay, and it's a wonderful little sketch here of somebody working in a machine shop. We've got some stickers, reclaim analog. I love that. I'm going to be sticking these on my sketchbooks. And I sketch in order to see, which is so true. You always observe things better when you sketch. There are a couple of reclaim analogs. I sketched Therefore I Am, and this sketchbook belongs to. I love these. These are so cute. What wonderful little additions to the book here. And there's a little postcard here that's the cover of the book, and one of the illustrations from the book. And we've got another illustration from the book. So little collector's items here, and let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. So this book came out originally in the 80s, and James was kind enough to do a little sketch on the front page of my book to my friend Lindsay, which is, I'm like gonna cherish this forever. The art supply-osaurus likes to be surrounded by lots of art stuff, James Gurney, and he sketched this little art supply dinosaur. And if you're unfamiliar with James Gurney's work, he is the creator of Dinotopia. If you're familiar with those books, they're gorgeously painted books, and it was actually a series, I believe, on TV in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. So you may be familiar with his work from that if you're not familiar with his urban sketching work. But I thought that was so cool. At first I thought it was printed, and then I'm like, oh my word, no, this is sketched in here. So I feel totally blown away and special about that. But so very cool. This book is full of gorgeous illustrations. I could see the impression here from where I was drawing on the previous page. So I was like, oh my gosh. There is a wonderful chapter about the different materials that he uses. They're very easy to find. I would say ordinary materials. Nothing like really fancy that would be expensive or hard to get. It talks about dealing with the different conditions, weather, cold, heat, sitting, standing, how to deal with people that are watching you. Talks about achieving accuracy. There was a really neat tip that he gave in here about how to draw from memory. So like you're watching something that's moving and closing your eyes right after it gets to that point that you want to capture, and then just forcing yourself to memorize it as much as you can. Kind of like Degas would do. And I haven't had a chance to read this cover to cover because it's so dense. I'll be like reading a couple pages and I feel like, oh, I need to stop and I need to digest this and then put it to practice and come back. So so I guess this isn't a review per se as it is a kind of an overview of the book. So many beautiful, delightful sketches. I'm hoping the glare isn't too bad. I just redid the lighting in my studio, so I'm not, the glare is hitting different than it was before. But I love the inspiring stories here of him hopping a boxcar with his friend. They were roommates, college roommates, and they decided to drop out of art school and ride the rails like a bunch of hobos and sketch along the way. And it's just, the anecdotes are so charming and fun, and if you've ever had that, like, you know, that childhood dream to like, kind of run off and join the circus, like I love that idea. It's like, I'm gonna just leave, I'm gonna go join the circus, you know. If you've ever had a fantasy like that, I think reading this book will really you'll find it very charming and entertaining. I love these little bits of building sketches. The thing that's really neat about this is there's so many different styles. There's a variety of media. There's a variety of subjects, from old decrepit gas stations and train yards to urban settings, to country settings and landscapes. And it just shows you draw everything, draw anything. If you find something interesting about it, sketch it, because it's just going to help you improve your skills. Another thing I really enjoyed was the sketching on toned surfaces. It may be the back of a sketch pad, like the cardboard backing. It might be the back side of illustration board, but just having like a black pen, a white pen, and the middle tone of your paper, how much you can convey in such a small period of time. I love all these little sketches, all these gestures of the dogs. They are so neat. This one here, somebody in a TV studio, that's just so neat. I love the camper or trailer. That's just, and he has a little story, like on most of these sketches that are here, he'll tell a little story about sketching this trailer, and the owner came by and asked about it, and she was kind of shy, and then she had been walking her dog, and then she tied the dog up so the dog could be in part of the picture. Just kind of interesting tales. And I also love seeing other people's workings. I love seeing other people's materials. I love to see other people's studios and art supplies. And so, I mean, just that alone, I really enjoyed. And some of the products are ones that I used in the past and I don't use any longer. And if it's something that I still have, it will kind of encourage me to dig them out again. And pictures of them working when they were youngins. Oh, this is really interesting. He talks about how to, well, this is the chapter on achieving accuracy, but he talks about how he changed this setup. This is the photo. This is what he was looking at to draw. But look at this whimsical arrangement he made. He made a more interesting looking sign. I mean, he kept the wire that was attached to the building, but he pretty much like reworked everything, but it has the anchor of reality. And I think that's something, if you can take something that's realistic, something that you see, get all that information down, then you can embellish it. But if you don't have that foundation of the thing that is real and true and solid, you're just polishing a turd, for lack of a better word. But when you have something like, you have a structure, you have a building, you have something to go on, you have something to start with, then you can embellish it. It's like if you're sewing a dress, and you use a pattern and you sew a really well constructed garment, then you can go and get the beads and the sequins and the flowers and the ruffles and the lace and the trim and embellish it. But if you don't have that solid foundation to work from, it's not going to work. Same thing with drawing. And I think that's a really great illustration of that. Like, plain old boring building you wouldn't look twice at, gorgeous drawing. And that's something that I think that's one of the reasons why I've always resonated with his work so much. He'll take something completely ordinary. Like, I watched one of his YouTube videos that was he was painting a snowbank in a Hannaford parking lot. Something I see all the time because that's the grocery store chain that I go to. And he made it look gorgeous with the light and the shadow and the minute colors that were in the snowbank. So it's finding the beauty in the ordinary, starting with something that's true and honest, and then embellishing. Kind of like all the best stories, right? The best stories they start off as, something true, and then you embellish it. Oh goodness, got some talking about perspective and how to measure, like how to use your pencil, like you hold it up at different angles and you can move your finger along the edge of the pencil to measure. And I have not digested all of this yet, but I wanted to do the flip through before the book was available, so if you were thinking about it, you could think a little bit more. And I believe Marty Owings also has a flip through of this book. I haven't watched it yet though, because I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to look through it myself first, I guess. But yeah, Marty's a friend too. Then we have the capturing motion chapter. I just love this. On the back of some illustration board, look at how he's starting with this tone surface, black details, white highlights, how much impact that has. And it's very sparse, and it's like an economy of pen strokes, just the important stuff. And I love that. But I think this is a chapter that I did actually kind of jump in at this point at one time when I was reading it, because I wanted to read about the capturing the motion. And I think this is kind of one of those books where you can do that, where you can kind of be like, what's my problem? What's my problem today? What problem am I having? And then flip through and find the solution, or find a way to attack a certain subject, because we're all different. We're all going to have different needs at different times in our life. We're all going to, you'll have times where you're going through a landscape phase, or you're going through a figurative drawing phase, or you're going through an oil painting phase. You know, you'll go through these different stages. And you know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? So when you're ready, when you have those needs, you can flip through, find that section on drawing that subject, and get a little guidance. It's like it's like having a teacher right next to you. And I love that. That is really, this one is by Thomas Kinkade, who, this is really interesting, because I think most people know Thomas Kinkade as the painter of the whimsical, kind of idyllic cottages full of like glowing windows and just very cute paintings that were very popular. A lot of people had prints hanging in like the 90s and I would say late 90s, early 2000s. But then you've got this very like, I don't know, like this seems to me has so much more character. I really like this style of drawing, and it's got a lot of detail, but it's also got personality, and it doesn't feel fussy. And that's something that I struggle with anytime I try to do like a shop front. There's a woman, Alice Lim, who she's on YouTube, but she's also on Instagram, and she posts the shop front challenge, and I'll go in and do them sometimes, and they're always just woefully inadequate. Mine are woefully inadequate, and I see other people that just get it. They put that personality into a building, and oh, look at that. That was one of the ones we have the postcard for. And to be able to put that personality into inanimate objects, I think is really special. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous primrose illustration. I love these. I love vibrant gouache sketches. I think that's gouache. Yeah, gouache on illustration board. So fun. So fun. I mean, just even if you wanted to flip through it as a coffee table book and look at the illustrations, look at the paintings, I think that would be really worthwhile. Look at the way they used shadow and to convey detail, to convey structure, form, and volume. That's really amazing. I really like that sketch. And it's like it's so reduced to black and white. There's not really gray, it's all black and white, and just using a less dense area to show a highlight and a more dense area to show shadow. I just think that's amazing. And then, of course, James is known for his imaginative work. He's done a lot of, and this probably sounds like a big ode to James Gurney. I don't mean that, but he's done a lot of novel covers and a lot of science fiction, and of course Dinotopia. So it requires you to use your imagination, but also you need that grounding in things that are real and true, so that you can make up the fanciful things and make them feel realistic. This looks like a Wizard of Oz tree. I absolutely love that. Oh, and look at this! Look at this floating. It almost looks like a submarine, but it's like a plane, and it's got cars dangling from it. How clever and cute is that? Oh, this is going to be a really fun chapter to read. I love it. Again, with the black and white. I love that black and white. There's something just so impactful about that. But you have to know the form, right? You have to be able to draw the truth before you can draw the fantasy, I think, anyway. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't read this cover to cover, so I'm sure I'm coloring this with my own opinions. So I do want to say that. But that is neat with a huge hand coming out of the harbor. Very cool. Again, tone paper. I love it. I love the tone paper. I think that's why I bought that tone sketchbook that I'm always complaining about because the pages are thin. But I like that. I like having that middle ground. Oh, that is really cute. These characters outside of looks like a Carnival Barker ticket sales office. I like the energy, the gestural, and you can see, this is another thing I really like about this book, is that you can see the foundational pencil lines underneath, and you can see like the movement. And look at how like this guy's belly, this gremlin or goblin's belly curves, and it goes into this guy's back, curves up, and you've got into the motion of the guy trying to buy the tickets at the ticket booth. I just love seeing those gestural lines and seeing the motion go up and bring your eye to the center of attention, to the point of interest and the point of action where the relationships are forming between the different characters in a scene. And it's something you may not even think about, but it makes a difference in the fact that they all are cohesive and they all have this volume and this shape and they're all kind of moving in a flow. Yikes, something just fell down. I have no idea what that is. Anyway, can't be too serious. And then this is a sketch that Thomas Kinkade did. It's in that same style, but it's a more, it looks like a vulture trailer hitch combination. So it's probably something from a float or whatnot, but it's definitely believable, definitely, you know, looks like what it is. So many wonderful, whimsical illustrations. I just love it. I just love it. And I didn't think that flipping through this book would make anyone not want to buy it. Otherwise, I wouldn't, because I would feel that that would be doing disservice not only to James Gurney, but also to the viewer, because there's so much density. I mean, look, every illustration has so much written about it. Oh, look at these textures. Just, I mean, tips from different materials to use, different approaches to sketch with, ways to measure things up. It's all just remarkable. And some of these pages I am seeing for the first time here because, like I said, I've kind of wanted to take it slow with this book because there's so much information to glean. Again, the tone paper. I just love that tone paper. I love the look of that. And something like this can inspire you. Like, you can see something and like, okay, I'm just going to go get a sheet of gray paper and I'm going to work with gouache and black ink and see what I can do. Sometimes we get stuck in ruts because we just keep doing the same thing the same way over and over again. And when we get a different idea, when we see a new way to do it, then we just want to try it out. And that's what I would do, because I think you would get overwhelmed with so much new material at once. I would look at, like, read a chapter, and then I would try to put some of that into play so that you don't get overwhelmed. Again, the tone paper, I just love that. Hope the glare isn't too bad for you. Again, with the tone paper. I mean, look at that, it's so simple. You've got some, it looks like a China pencil and gouache. Or maybe it's even a charcoal pencil. And because value, I mean, your lights and your darks, your contrast, your value, you can create the feeling of form, of density, of volume, of space and depth. And the simple materials. Because sometimes it seems like, you know, you get an art book and then you're all set to go, and then you're like, oh my word, now I need to go buy $500 worth of supplies. No, this isn't, it talks about the supplies, but it's not about the supplies. It's about the art. It's about the creating. It's about sketching with accuracy, sketching quickly. Oh my gosh, how adorable is that hobo? Oh, that's so funny. Very cartoony. And I think the thing that's also kind of interesting is where you have artwork from Thomas Kinkade and James Gurney. Their styles are quite distinct. They're quite different. Oh, look at that, again with the dark. Isn't that great? I love that. You get to see different takes on a similar method. So you may resonate with Thomas Kinkade more than James Gurney, or there may be some methods where you like one over the other, but you have some variety. So it's not just like you're getting one person's opinion; you're getting a couple opinions. And whether you like Thomas Kinkade or not, it doesn't diminish the relevance and the value that's in the book here. I feel like this is a very biased review. I guess it's not really a review, and I am biased. So I'm just going to come right out and say it, but I do, this reminds me of a Sargent picture, or even a Gibson girl, you know, just very, it's got that kind of timeless elegance to it. It's just very, I don't know, doesn't it look like, what was that painting by Sargent, the woman is standing by the piano in the black dress? That's what that reminds me of. I think it's Sargent. Now I'm like, I've quoted the wrong artist now. Now I am suspect. Take everything with a grain of salt. I love that watercolor. That is very cool. Look just at the complexity of the colors in the skin tone there, the texture, and it's just like There's the center of detail, and then everything just fades away to just like scratchy lines. And I love that contrast of the rendered area and then the scratchy hints at form and hints at the scene. I think that's really effective. I love the color it shows. I mean, there's a lot of color in that skin tone. It looks like, in very granular color, which you usually don't see in portraits. But I think it looks really neat there. I think it really works. And that was a Thomas Kinkade sketch there. That is really complex. And that would be overwhelming. I think when it comes to like architecture and machinery, I get very overwhelmed with that. Anything that's like precision. When my parents put me in art lessons as a child, my dad wanted me to be an architect, but that was not, and maybe it's just a childhood rebellion that I put this mental block against doing architecture and mechanical stuff, but I find it so complex and so interesting to look at, and I am trying to do that more, but it's definitely something I struggle with, so I'm going to really be enjoying this chapter on exploring the man-made world because I need a lot of help with that. I'm definitely more of an organic line, living thing type sketcher, so this will be really handy for me. I love how that gas pump looks alive. It looks like a robot or like an alien or something with whipping arms. And I also love signs. I love to paint roadside signs, so that's cool. Look at that play of light and dark. I love that. Just a couple tones, that's all you need, and then you pull out and just like the little glimmer of a little glow of highlight along that edge. That's just so simple but so effective. Little snippets of buildings. I love that. I love the style of that. Oh, toned paper. Love it. That's really neat. That's a Thomas Kinkade. Very effective with just two colors, white and black, and then you've got the tone of the paper. You have to be a good illustrator. You have to be able to draw to be able to use to treat such a complex thing with such a simple amount of lines and simple colors. You don't have the color to fall back on. You've got to be accurate because you've got black, white, and the color of the paper. So you can't be farting around and you can't be making a bunch of mistakes or inaccurate lines. You have to be accurate when you're doing something like that. That's very well done. Doesn't have anything that's gaumy or awkward looking at all. Oh, what a good book. And this is interesting. It's like, it's kind of almost looks like a montage where you've got this little scene of houses here. And I don't know if that is that a dam? Oh, grain silos? Huh. The massiveness of the grain silos juxtaposed with the frail houses beneath. Oh, very neat. You need some most things you don't need the context to because it's very clear what they are, but that was one I definitely needed some context with. And then sketching your life. That's something I really recommend, because if you just look around you and have a sketchbook and just draw whatever you see, whether it's appealing or not, it's good practice, because then you can actually go up to it and touch it and move it around and make sure you get it accurate. Whereas when you're sketching from a photo, which we all do, we all have to sometimes, when you're sketching from a photo, it's already flattened for you and you can't go up to it and see the detail. But if you're at home and you want to sketch a screwdriver, you can actually pick it up and look at it and feel it and know what the materials are and know if it's hard or soft, or and you can move it around and see it from different angles. So yeah, sketching things around you is really a great way to start. But I hope this gave you a good idea about what this book contains and whether it's something that you would want to add to your library or not. I am delighted with it, and I want to thank James Gurney for sending this to me and including that gorgeous illustration on the front cover. I'm going to cherish this always. If I sound like a total fangirl, well, that's because I am. I make no apologies for that. But yeah, I really think more people should check out his art. He's got a YouTube channel. He shares so many wonderful, wonderful videos. And I hope that you check him out, consider this book, and if you're looking for a gift for an artist, I really think this would be a wonderful one. In fact, my husband had wanted to buy it for me for Christmas, but it wasn't out yet, so so it was funny. It was funny about that, because as soon as I knew it was coming out, I was very excited about it. So I highly recommend it, and if you're looking for something about painting, he also has Color and Light. That's another wonderful book. And Magical Realism, which goes into painting the more whimsical characters that you come up with in your imagination. So lots of good stuff. Thank you, James, for sending this to me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Till next time, happy crafting. Bye!